your long-term future to Wellington instead?
Yeah, it's obviously very interesting that the Auckland teams come out. I think obviously for me being in Auckland it is something that's quite inviting to me, but I think I've been at the Phoenix for so long, come through the academy, and they've just provided so much for my development, and I think that what the coaching staff are doing here is providing young boys a very good pathway to go off to Europe, and I think this is just the perfect environment for me to grow as a player.
Do you think if that team had been around 6 years ago that you may have never made the move to Wellington?
Who knows? I think back then Phoenix, Paul Temple was the one that brought me down to the academy. He was someone that put a lot of trust in me, so who knows what I would have done, but I think he was someone that put a lot of trust in me and brought me down to the academy, and I've just been down here since, and I've got nothing to complain about what the Phoenix have done for me.
Since the chat came out about an Auckland team, did you give it much thought as to whether a move could be a good decision for you?
Not really ever thought about it as a move. Obviously it's something, like I said, quite inviting for me, but I've always wanted to be here, and I feel like this is a perfect place for me to grow as a player, and then hopefully if I perform well to go off to Europe someday.
Has it had its challenges being away from friends and family from quite a young age?
Yeah, of course. Like obviously my family and friends have been up there, but I think coming down at such a young age has helped me adapt to being down here, and I think this is my second home now, so I'm very used to being down here.
And inking a deal for another few seasons, what are your ambitions for this time as you think ahead?
I think my focus now is just trying to, obviously now that the injury's gone away, to start trying to build into the starting lineup, and then from there just try and prove and just have a good couple of seasons under my belt, and hopefully the team can do well.
Do you think there's room for 2 New Zealand teams in the A-League?
I think so, for sure. I think a lot of friends of mine have been unlucky not to be able to get contracts here, and they've struggled to find places overseas, so I think this Auckland side provides a good pathway, an alternate pathway for other teams, to other players in New Zealand to show what they're made of.
Were you surprised there was also no women's team announced with that new franchise?
Yeah, obviously I don't like to think too much about it, but I always did hear that there was meant to be a women's team coming in. Obviously it hasn't worked out, but it'll be good in a couple of seasons when they're in.
You were just talking, going back to that move of having to come down to Wellington, do you think that made you a better well-rounded footballer and prepare you for the mentality of being a professional?
Yeah, for sure. I'd like to think that me having to make the big sacrifice to come down and move away from my family, friends, has just allowed me to commit to football a lot more. That was my pure focus coming down to Wellington, so I think you're right in saying that that's definitely helped me as a footballer.
And then, there's going to be a lot of young Aucklanders who are now going to have this ability to play for an Auckland team. What do you think that means for kids coming out of Auckland?
I think it's very promising. Obviously before it's just been the Phoenix, which has been the pathway for us young boys, but I think having another pathway for a lot of players, there's nothing wrong with that, and I think it's a very good pathway for any New Zealanders to go prove themselves and then hopefully go into bigger and better things.
And what do you think about the rivalry that may come up from these two teams? You're an Aucklander, but yeah. What would it be like facing against an Auckland team, and that rivalry, how do you think it might look like?
It would be cool. I've never really been involved in too big a rivalries. I think the only one we've got is the distance derby with Perth, but I think having a rivalry here will just be very good, not only for the players but the fans, so it will be exciting next year to be able to play against them.
The Phoenix have obviously had support from Aucklanders a lot. Do what's your sense on whether people will buy into the new franchise? Will they stay loyal to the Phoenix?
It is interesting. You'd like to think that a lot of them would stay loyal to the Phoenix because I've been here so long and provided them so much joy, but who knows? I wouldn't be surprised if they ended up just supporting the Auckland team as well.
You're hoping your family and friends, though, still wear the Phoenix jerseys?
Yeah, I'm sure that they'll be still supporting the Phoenix as well.
Yep, and just talk about the injury you've had as well. When did that sort of first come about, and how have you sort of been managing that?
I think it came about maybe 4th or 5th game into the season. It started off as something quite small, and I've always had quite bad problems with my hip, so I didn't think too much about it. And then we had an international break, and we actually thought it was a hernia problem, and I ended up getting a surgery at the end of December to fix the hernia, and then we came back and then the pains were still there, so I did have a hernia, but that didn't fix the overlying problem, so I've just had to work through that with the medical staff, and I just got to thank Corey so much for what he's been able to do to help me get back. I wasn't meant to be back till January, so been very good to get me back now.
Yeah, where are you at now in terms of minutes? Are you ready to push for a start, do you think? Are you still being sort of eased in?
Yeah, for sure. I'd love to start any game, but I think the staff have done so well at building my minutes up across the games. I think the last couple of games I got about 40 minutes, so when they want to start me, I think I'll be ready for that.
Just back to the Auckland team, do you think there's added pressure now on the Phoenix to win a championship before that team? Because they've been around since 2007. It would be a shame if Auckland came in and would win before the Phoenix.
Yeah, of course. I think there's always going to be pressure when there's a derby like that in a team in the same country as you. But I think as long as we keep focusing on what we want to do here, I think we're going to have a chance to do really well in the next couple of years.
And just for you personally, how exciting is it to sign a new deal with the Phoenix going forward for your career?
Yeah, it's amazing. It just provides that security for me. I no longer have to worry about all of this stuff, and I can just focus on just being the best player I can and help the team out to win games.
Yeah, and was that part of the reason you signed with the Phoenix before looking at the Auckland team? There was a contract on the table and you just wanted to get it done?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I have to thank the Phoenix for coming to me so early. My contract doesn't run out to the end of the season, so they've come early and got a lot of faith in me. So I think just trying to get that done as quick as possible would just help me as a footballer, so I can just focus on what's most important.